So a little bit more has come out about the impeachment. And it's getting interesting. And I got to say, man, look, who the fuck knows? But this smells just like the Trump-Russia collusion thing where listen, man, and this is just peak 2019, that me and you, Rob, were just a couple of idiot comedians. And yet when we had the biggest story of the last 3 years, me and you called it exactly right down to a T from the very beginning. And then you had the biggest players in the media all getting it completely wrong. And like I said, we are going to get that apology. It's coming. It's just got to wait, but it's going to be so good. And the more time you have to wait, it's like, oh, this is going to be so good. It's going to be so sweet. CNN's going to be like, Aaron Burnett's giving blowjobs out to everybody. It's going to be incredible. But I said from the first episode that I recorded the day after Nancy Pelosi held that dumb press conference and said she was going forward. I said, you know what I think this is I think this is a move of desperation, and that Donald Trump was trying to get to the bottom of that whole Trump-Russia investigation. I think that's what this was all about. And just the other day, yesterday to be precise, there were some more text messages released. And the text messages all seem to be about the military. Now, I will say this. It does seem to indicate that Trump was using the military aid toward Ukraine to get something. Now, one of the terms that you'll hear thrown out a lot is this quid pro quo, right? Like the idea that if Donald Trump is giving something to get something, there's the impeachable offense right there. Well, not exactly. I mean, there's nothing impeachable about a president saying, look, America's going to give you something, but you're going to have to give something to America. There is a problem if a president is saying, hey, America's going to give you something and you got to give something to me. See, that's a little bit different. And I could see where when you're talking about the Joe Biden investigation, okay, it's debatable whether or not that's just in the interest of the country to get to the bottom of what a former vice president did or what his son did or what the connection was there. But I could get where when he's the front runner, of the opposition party, it's okay. It's a little bit debatable. But what came out in these text messages seemed to indicate that Donald Trump's main concern with withholding the military aid wasn't about Joe Biden and the Hunter Biden investigation. I made this point, but if you actually read the transcript, it wasn't like he went, look, I need the Bidens investigated. That's what I want from you to me. That was almost a throwaway thing that he just said in there. It was a thing he added on. He was like, oh, and I think we should look into this thing. A lot of people are telling me that the Biden deal was like corrupt. I think we should look into that. But it seems like what we're getting more and more evidence of is that what Donald Trump wanted for the military aid was an investigation into Russian interference in the election. Now, that's what they're saying. They wanted them to look into Russian interference in the election. But what does Donald Trump want to look into in interference? Now, not the 2020 election, the 2016 election. Going backward. Not interfering with something forward coming up. Saying, let's get to the bottom of what actually happened in 2016. Now, why would that be? Why would he be going to Ukraine to ask about these things? Now, keep in mind what's going on here. Ukraine was fighting a war with Russia. The Obama administration sided with Ukraine. They backed up Ukraine, a notoriously corrupt country, okay, in their conflict with Russia. Now, Trump comes in, starts saying a lot of nice things about Russia. They're like, you're colluding with the Russians. It's this whole thing. So why is he asking Ukraine about what actually happened with interference? My guess is that Donald Trump's trying to get right down to the bottom of how this whole interference thing was bullshit to begin with, and that this was all just used to predicate this bullshit investigation into Donald Trump. That's what I think this is all about. Because you ask yourself, why would they impeach right now with such flimsy evidence, with such nothing to go on? Why would they risk all of this right before an election? I think there's some people who are very worried. I think there's some very powerful people who are very worried. And I got to say, my take, and here's what I was wrong about. After the Mueller report came out, I said, Barr's not really going to investigate any of these people. All of them are going to get away with it. Nothing's going to happen. We're just going to move on and we'll never get justice for this. I still kind of feel like that's what's going to happen. But it seems more and more now like Trump and Barr were actually trying to get to the bottom of this. And that's not going to happen without a fight. Let me just say it like this, and it just came to me. This is just my take on the whole thing. But if you actually try to go after the intelligence community, they've got 6 ways till Sunday to screw you. That's my guess. Oh, there's a senator who agreed with me. Forgot. Go back to the beginning. Play that clip. All right. So that's more or less what I wanted to cover and talk about this impeachment. And, the other thing we talk about is the Adam Schiff thing, right? So that's another thing that came out since our last podcast, which is pretty interesting. This Adam Schiff guy, trustworthy fellow, would you say?
I would not say so.
No, not so much. So Adam Schiff, the guy who was freestyle vamping deaf poetry on the last episode, telling you about what Donald Trump said in his mind, he, on national television, said that he what he didn't even say he's never spoken to the whistleblower. He actually said we've never spoken to the whistleblower, which would kind of implicate him and his staff.
And he also was making a big stink out of, listen, if it wasn't for you finally giving us over this information, we never would have known about this whistleblower. So the unbelievable corruption that you have a whistleblower that then goes back to the agency he's trying to whistleblow on, and then they can keep that information from anyone ever finding out about that is horrible for our national security, for our justice system. But then lo and behold, this whole thing was kickstarted when the whistleblower went to Adam Schiff first and said, hey, and now maybe he did or didn't meet with Adam Schiff, but he definitely met with Adam Schiff's staff.
Yeah.
And Adam Schiff definitely weighed in on this. And basically, it went to the football coach. Hey, how do you want me to play this?
Yeah.
And who is the whistleblower in the end? Was it a part of Donald Trump's? No, it's the fucking CIA. The exact people that they're investigating right now.
The exact intelligence community who Chuck Schumer told us had 6 ways till Sunday to screw you over.
Well, it looks like they're undermining William Barr's investigation.
Yeah.
Remember all that? Undermining investigations?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Looks like the CIA is undermining an investigation.
That's right. I forgot that was supposed to be a bad thing, at least when the wrong people do it. But so if you were to say that this is a deep state kind of anti-Trump political move, I mean, it would kind of fit into that narrative that this CIA guy goes to the opposition Democrat congressman who just so happens to be the chair of the House Intelligence Committee. He goes to his staff, at least, and asks them what to do here, and they tell him to go file for whistleblower status, to lawyer up, to do all these things to bring, and then it comes to an impeachment. So this thing stinks. It stinks of deep state nefarious activity. And and Schiff, of course, as we already knew, is just a bald-faced liar. I mean, just came on national television, said we've never had any contact with this guy. And at least according to the New York Times reporting the next day, his staff certainly has. If he was certainly, at the best case, he was lying by omission by going like, oh, we've never had any contact with him.
It'll be a part of the CNN apology.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll be included in there. I mean, they've taken this much time. They're gonna cover everything, Rob. Yeah, it's this thing stinks and stinks more the more we find out about it. And I got to say, I'm enjoying the show. I can't wait to find out more about it.